Yes, friends, here we are.
We're just going to
1, 2, 3, we're in.
Also, we need to talk about how you drink coffee, because there's that one Insta-tweet video where you're like, no, you like lift your elbow the whole way. And I'm like, he doesn't normally drink coffee like that. What is he doing?
Oh, interesting. That's funny.
What are you doing? Is that what you do as
like
an influencer?
This? Like this?
Oh, dude, yeah.
I'm not an influencer.
Well, I mean, you are with that elbow. But you're like.
Well, how else do you do it? Like with your shoulders?
No, you just
How do you get it up to your mouth?
I mean, you don't have to put your elbow like perpendicular to the glass.
Mine does that. Look, even as I'm trying to lift it, it goes up.
You do it like that.
Oh, weird.
It's so
Wait, now
weird.
let me see how you lift your glass.
Okay, I'm not gonna think about it.
All right. Mine just floats up there.
Just goes. I don't know what happened to my elbow.
Mine just floats up there.
Y'all, welcome back to the ecoChristian podcast, where we're exploring what it means to be Christian on planet Earth with me, Caleb Cray Haynes. I'm so excited about this episode. You're hearing a rare episode where I sit down with my longtime friend and food justice advocate, Tera, and she's here in Nashville, and we're grabbing breakfast and chatting about her story, working on local farms and urban food efforts and food equity, and it's just so good. The audio is a little raw, but very full of life, as you'll hear. So excited to share this conversation with you guys. Also, friends, I am really pumped to be sharing about my new book being released early 2026 called Earthbound Christian: Flourishing Within Limits in the Age of Infinite Growth. Y'all, this is a book about being human on Earth, about the Christian faith, about society's fascination with technology, AI, the worship of economic growth, the insights of indigenous peoples, and American values. Because if you're going to write a book, am I right? So, it's about discovering what true progress is as we learn from gravity, stars, soil, and the wisdom of God in creation. So, yes, all that and more. Stay tuned, friends. I'll be sharing updates about that along the way, and maybe some opportunities to engage prior to the book launch. So, yes, but without further ado, I'm going to go ahead. Let's just do this thing.
I'm used to like very
hot beverages. Do you do cold beverages?
I spill drinks on myself every day. It's what it is.
Weird. When I was a little girl, I had this really bad habit of putting a straw in my milk carton, but I would also eventually start tipping it up, and I would pour milk on myself every day.
That's like it's
like people leaning when they're playing Mario Kart. You know what I mean?
That's like every time I try to drink out of an Nalgene, you're like, these were created for you to drink out of?
It looks stupid.
Yeah, they've got these little inserts that I got one that you set inside the Nalgene that has a little sippy part to it.
That's nice. Yeah, my
Game
thing
changer.
has a sippy part too, because otherwise it'll just go.
You gotta have the sippy parts.
This is why I don't like ice, because, okay, listen, if you put ice, if I put ice in the glass and then you tip it up, little like tributaries form, and then like there's liquid all over, and you can't. Anyway.
Yeah,
you know what
I
I'm
agree.
talking about.
I agree. Little icebergs.
It's
yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
it's a real
get that out
problem.
of the way.
Yeah, this must be why none of the Germans want the ice in the glass. You know, they don't want it.
It's not efficient.
Yeah, they're like, no, this is not going to go well.
You know what though? Totally switching gears. If for Christmas, because my family doesn't really meet for Christmas, and this would be like my first Christmas alone, I will go to Germany. I will take myself to Germany.
Oh man!
Because I haven't been in Germany in like 7 years.
Dude.
And I was
awesome.
born there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I was born in Landstuhl. And so I've always wanted to see the Christmas markets during Christmas time.
Oh my gosh. It's
so
pretty
that'd
much
be fun.
one of the 2 reasons to be alive.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Well, I'm saving that for
Don't say
another
something
podcast.
like children, you know?
Definitely not kids.
I laughed.
Right on. Hey, remember that time we almost started a podcast
Oh my gosh.
together? So we were going to start this podcast. If you're listening, I'm talking to you as well. We were going to start this podcast called like the Caleb and Tera Show or the Tera Caleb Show.
It was going to be comedy.
Yeah, it was going to be comedy.
And we couldn't figure out
We had to try
the
too
tech.
hard.
We couldn't
Yeah.
figure out the tech. One, that was the big thing. Like we sounded like
Yeah.
we were yelling at each other from far away.
Yeah.
And also, I just got really
Which is what this
nervous
is gonna
off
sound
the
like.
cuff. You know, wait, is this going to sound like that?
No.
Okay. I'm like, surely, and because that would have been, oh my gosh, that would have been like 2017.
I don't know.
when we
Yeah,
tried
it
that
was
podcast.
it was a long time ago.
But it was gonna be like a comedy show.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can still
Life
do that.
is a comedy show.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the great irony is that at the end of time, God's going to pull the curtain. He's going to be like, it was a comedy show.
This whole time, and it's like he's been pranking us this whole time.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like he's just been pranking us.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like kind of on a serious note, I've been thinking more about like the gospel as comedy and like how everything Jesus said was just like comically absurd. And like and I just wonder if like how much of it he had like an inward laugh about.
Yeah,
you know
did he
what
ever
I'm saying?
chuckle to himself like,
Like, yeah, I want to
blessed
like,
are the meek?
yeah, exactly. Everything that he said was like, do not worry. They're like dying under Rome. Do not worry. Like, love your enemy.
Give to Caesar what is Caesar's.
Yeah, that's right. The meek will inherit everything.
You're like, this guy's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, what else can you call that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is absurd. Anyway, that's a whole different thing.
I like that.
But
I like that a lot.
yeah. So
I mean, I hope he did have a sense of humor, right?
I think if anyone had the most sense of humor, it has to be God.
Have you seen some of these creatures he created? Or
Right.
God created? Sorry.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
try not
like
to
the
use
humans?
he. Yeah, like
The worst.
Also, okay.
Yeah.
Also, serious note. Do you ever look at your hands and you're like, these are the weirdest things? Like, do you ever like look at your hand?
What
right
other
now?
creature has like all of this? I
mean, a lot of monkeys. And
monkeys,
apes,
but they're
but,
hairy, which looks more natural. I feel like there
true.
should be more
I
hair.
mean, I've seen some pretty hairy dudes, but like, yeah, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very strange. And there are like fish that were like, why do we have that? Is that
Yeah.
necessary?
Yeah. If you haven't caught on, Tera and I, we go back a little ways, and we went to school together at a university here in Nashville, and we studied. I was just thinking about how similar our trajectories have been. So I'm thinking like Tera and I sat through 7:30 a.m. biblical exegesis class, and we're kind of accountability partners because we helped keep each other awake.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I remember. Do you remember? I don't know why I feel like I always bring this up. So I had
Breakfast Club?
No, not that.
Okay,
That's another
never
story. But I had this little. Do you know these little things that if you put in water, they grow?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you gave me, or somebody gave me. I had like this little man, and
It was called Grow a Date. I think it was Grow a Date.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was like a little man.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
that you put in water, and it was
Yeah.
like meant to be funny. Like
Yeah.
about like we would give
Okay.
me and my roommates, my girlfriends, we would give them to each other for Valentine's Day. We'd
Okay.
be like, here's this date.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. Anyway, I had one of these.
Did I give you a Grow a Date?
I think you must have. So
Is he all red?
No, he was different colors.
Maybe he was.
But anyway, I had this thing, and it's 7:30 a.m. and I don't know why I had it with me, and it was not in the water, but it was like wet, which means like it was also like, anyway. And it was there in class, and and I'm so tired. At 7:30 in the morning, we're talking about biblical exegesis, and I was thinking, I was trying to do anything I could to stay awake, and I was just slapping myself with this wet object, and we were just trying to keep each other awake to talk about this. I mean, they don't offer that class that early anymore. And I also don't think they offer it to. We were like freshmen.
We were freshmen.
I don't think they do that anymore either.
I think he was even one of these professors, and I loved him. He was wonderful.
Sprouse, he was amazing.
Sprouse was incredible.
Yeah.
But he was also one of these professors that's like, you might not make it through this class.
Yeah.
You're freshmen.
Yeah.
So good luck.
But the secret was he was actually a teddy bear.
He really is.
And everyone made it to that class, I think, who showed up.
Yeah.
So
it was good. We did BibX. We did biblical Hebrew together. I was thinking about Hebrew a lot this week. Thinking about this podcast, I was thinking about Hebrew a lot for some reason.
Oh, interesting. Been brushing up on your Hebrew?
No, I have not.
L'chaim.
Tov. And then we also took Pentateuch together, which was actually my favorite.
The best class ever.
That was my favorite class.
Yeah, the best class ever.
We took most biblical. Johan and I lit.
The first 5 books of the Bible, incredibly underrated.
They really are. Yeah.
Obviously Genesis and Exodus gets a lot of street cred, but Numbers is not what it appears to be.
No.
That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, no, I was thinking about how similar, now that we're later in our 20s, and no, I'm just kidding. We're kind of old now, but thinking about how similar our trajectories have been, that we both kind of studied what we studied, and then kind of ended up in environmental justice kind of work.
Sure.
Anyway, it's just been kind of interesting. So, Tera, you've done lots of things. You farmed, you've worked toward food justice, in a lot of different settings.
I had a stint in Korea.
You lived in Korea. I totally forgot.
For 4 years.
You lived in Korea for a long time. And I remember back in the day when you had an apartment by Tribeca, and you did we would do documentary movie nights, and this was circa when the first real environmental documentaries would come out, and I'm not talking about not look at the whales, but it was here's what's behind the environmental curtain.
This is a problem.
What's the other one? The
Food Inc.
Food Inc. And I remember one night we watched. And folks, this was 20 years ago, and we watched this documentary on water, which is still the Flow.
For love of water.
Yes, and it's still maybe the only real legit documentary I've watched on water 20 years ago. And we watched that documentary, and my throat went to my butt, and I was
That's quite the visual.
It was a visual, and I was like, what in the world?
I don't know that I've bought bottled water since. Since that documentary.
I mean, and it just is, humbling and terrifying and equipping and all the things. Anyway, I could go on, but I'm curious because I don't know that I've ever asked you how you got here. Because I feel like you grew up in a part of the world in the South, and it was kind of small town, but you weren't doing agriculture, right? You weren't engaging ecologically with the world. No. And if I think you maybe worked at a Mexican restaurant like the rest of us.
It was a Chinese restaurant.
Chinese, and so how. I'm just wondering if you can recall.
I was a Mexican working in a Chinese restaurant.
Oh my.
That's what.
How did? What flipped? You know what I'm saying?
That's really wow. That's a good question. Because I didn't grow up we did, even though we were 80s babies and we grew up in the 90s, like the recycle, reduce, reuse didn't hit my family, right? Like I heard of things like recycle, reduce, reuse on Sesame Street and other like PBS shows. Yeah. But it always like that was something that other people did. Right. That's not something that my family adopted. And so, and yeah, we weren't. I didn't come from an ag family. I think my grandfather, when he was really, I don't think he finished high school. When he was like a teen, he was out in cotton fields, like he was picking, he was harvesting, and so it was never something that was looked on as, oh, we should go in, you guys should go into ag. That was not the trajectory for my life. But we always grew, like my grandparents got guardianship of me in 9th grade, but I was always there, like at their house, and so I had I helped him in the garden a lot, and that was fun. But that was my only like really ag experience. Yeah. And the interesting thing is, when you take my school, they made you take a career test, like everybody, and I think late junior year, early senior year, we all had to take a career test, and I was convinced that I was going to be a veterinarian. And anyway, I took the test, and it came back as I was going to be a farmer, and I was like, this is the stupidest thing. Like, I would never in a million years be a farmer. Right. I just did not want to do that. Yeah. Anyway, went to college, and met you 22 years ago. Yeah. And then when we graduated, I got a job as a secretary in the religion department, and shortly after that, the J.V. Morse Center for Social Justice opened at Trevecca. Yeah. And they needed an AmeriCorps Vista, and I was really interested in being that. And so we graduated 2008. 2009, the documentary Food Inc. hit the scene. And I actually went, I think they had a showing of it in Centennial Park, and me and a boyfriend and my friends Eric and Casey, we went, we watched Food Inc. And I remember just being so enraged, right? Like, what is going on? Yeah. How is this happening? Right. So at that same time, the J.V. Morse Center for Social Justice opened up, and I learned that if I was in AmeriCorps Vista here, I could do like community ag, and urban ag, and so I was like, yeah. So I really started doing that. So it was Food Inc., but it was also I was also reading the China Study at that time too. Have you read the China Study?
I feel like we talked about this a long time ago. But.
So that's where the documentary Forks Over Knives comes from.
Okay, yeah, which is great.
Yeah, which is great. So it's talking about like eating less meat. It's talking about anyway. So I started making different dietary changes, like. I started switching from cow milk to rice milk, and I started doing that. And so it was part environmental interest, but it was also a health interest as well. And so then when I was doing so I started as a AmeriCorps Vista, right? And I helped Jason Adkins start what is now Trevecca's farm. Awesome. And that was fun. And I got to work under him for over 2 years. And I got all of my farming ideology from him. And at the time, I was a devout Christian. I am not anymore. Okay. But I was a devout Christian then. And he was the first person that I had ever met that really lived their faith. And so what I mean by that is, when we were in when we were in biblical Hebrew, we were studying a passage, and it was where God, comes down, and God's like, I will be your God if you will be my people. Here's how you will be my people. And it's very contractual language, right?
Yeah.
It's like, don't wear this. Don't marry these guys. It's very contractual language, which can feel really legalistic.
Yeah.
But it was very beautiful to me,
right,
because there's no longer this bifurcation between what we believe and the actions that we do. And so that to me is was quite beautiful. And so to see Jason embody his faith by creation care was inspirational to me. And I don't like using the word inspirational, but like,
sure,
I saw that and I thought, I want that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most beautiful prayers that I ever heard was from him, actually. I remember he said, Lord, we can no longer say that we love our neighbor while simultaneously polluting the streams and rivers that they depend on to survive. And so I was listening to Jason say these beautiful prayers, and I had graduated from Food Inc. to the documentaries King Corn and Super Size Me came out, and there was this documentary called The Future of Food. It was all about GMOs, and that was terrifying. That was probably the most terrifying documentary I ever watched about food. And I was reading books. I was reading Fast Food Nation. I was reading, but I was also studying farmers, small scale farmers, like Elliot Coleman. And so I was really and John Jevons. So I was reading these like old school farmers that were no and low till farming, hanging on Jason's every word, and doing these installing these gardens around. But I was also going to these community meetings as well and learning about food access issues in Nashville. And I grew up in a very impoverished household, so I benefited from programs like WIC. I benefited programs from like SNAP, also known as food stamps back then.
Right.
And so all of this was kind of culminating for me. And at the end of my AmeriCorps Vista time, I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to make the world better? And I looked around me. I looked at, what was happening with the environment. I looked around at food access needs, and I thought, I will be a farmer. I will farm. I will farm organically. I will farm regeneratively. And it's not a sexy job, but that's what I'll do. And at the time, I thought that I was just going to work on someone else's farm. And Jason talked to me in his office one day, and he said, "Oh, Tera, you're gonna have your own farm one day." And I thought, "No way, that's too crazy. I'm not brave enough to do that." And he's like, "No, you're totally gonna have your own farm one day." So from there, I moved to Korea, as you do, right? You just
Sometimes you just.
Why would you not do that?
It's the best place.
But I moved to Korea because I had the goal of paying off debt. I had the goal of saving up money for land, and so me and my ex-husband at the time, we went. Me and my husband at the time, ex now, went to Korea. We mapped up the goal of 4 years. We made a financial goal, and we hit that goal. And then we came back, and we happened to land a really great apprenticeship.
Are you allowed to say more about that?
I think I can. I can. Okay. I did sign an NDA at that time, but I think we're good now. But so we were the
If not, let me know. We'll have to. We'll send you in hiding.
No, I think we're good. We were the first apprentices at Al Gore's farm, Caney Fork Farms, and so so we basically came. Stepped off the plane from Korea, and a month later we were, it was planting season. We were just in it. And I'm very grateful for that time. We were there for 2 years. Got some really great knowledge of crop planning. Everything that you need to go and farm to go and farm. And then that started my farming career.
What, could you say more about what, because weren't you guys trying to, wasn't the vision there kind of like farming, experimental farming in a way, or trying to climate resilience farming or something? Wasn't there kind of a piece of that or something?
Oh, there was a huge piece to that. And I think for the farm, they've always wanted to make the business case for regenerative farming. That I think that is a big goal of the farm, and so during that time, we planted a lot. We planted over 16,000 trees, many of those chestnuts, and we were running sheep through them. So we were doing silver pasture farming, and we were also farming. We had a vegetable market garden. We had vegetable tunnels. We had field crops as well. And I really gravitated towards no-till and low-till farming. So I really and that was from Jason's ideology still in me, and it's still there. Tillage can really damages our soil, right? A lot of our topsoil has been just decimated by tillage, and I really focused on things like worms, right? I love worms. I'm very reverent to worms. And I think what a lot of people don't know is, if a worm gets chopped in half, we don't get 2 more worms, right? That's just not something that happens.
That's a different creature.
That's a different thing. And so what studies have actually shown, if you till a bed, it takes about a good 18 months for that worm population to build back up in that bed.
Wow.
Right? And worms are the best tillers. They're the best tillers. Tillage releases extra carbon into the air, right? Whereas worms are actually aggregating that carbon for us. So anyway, there's a lot of I could really go into it, but
we should do a worm podcast.
We totally could.
Oh my gosh, next time. All right.
But also what's great about Caney is that is a completely organic farm. So they don't use pesticides or herbicides or synthetic fertilizers as well. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So you farmed.
I farmed, yeah.
You farmed.
Yeah, hardcore.
Which and at Trevecca you were doing, it was more like you guys, I feel like you guys were doing food stands, you were doing community gardens in urban spaces, you were trying to build the bridges, of food equity, and that sort of thing. And so you've kind of seen multiple aspects of that, of that work, and so which eventually led you. I'm trying to think of. You started Sweet Radish, which do you feel like that's the continuation of where all that led you, or maybe tell us about Sweet Radish?
That's a great question. So right after the apprenticeship, I went on to manage other farms throughout
Right.
Middle Tennessee, so I
Yeah.
worked on like Heritage Preservation Farm.
I totally forgot about that.
I had my own farm for a little while, and then Caney called again, and they said we have a vegetable manager position open, and I thought, no, I'm kind of happy where I'm at, and they're like, no, you should come, come back. So I went back to Caney and loved it. Still got great farming experience. This time, heading up vegetable production, and that was quite fun and stressful with what as any farming is. But so I grew up in a single parent household, and I always wanted to do something to give back to single moms, right? Or single dads. And so I wanted to create a program where we benefited farmers and we benefited people experiencing food insecurity. And I want to be very clear on how I say that, because I don't think that people are innately food insecure, right? I think that is something that is maybe thrust upon them by circumstance, and so that is something that they are experiencing. And one day they won't be experiencing that, right? And so I created Sweet Radish, and yeah, it was great. We would purchase CSA shares from small regenerative farms, and we would give them to individual families. And so it was really important for me for a family to not just get a box willy-nilly, but to get a share the entire season. Because I think that poverty disruption happens with consistency, right? Maybe you are worried about your job or paying for college classes or something at night, but you don't have to worry about where your vegetables are coming from every week, right? So it creates some mental space in their minds as well.
Yeah. That's I don't think I've ever heard of any other organization that does that. Like, would you say you invented that? I
don't know. I think there was probably no, because I think Second Harvest had something like that called Share a Share.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite the same model. I think I'm not sure how consistent their model was.
Yeah.
With a family getting a CSA share the whole year. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I just think it's such a beautiful thing, like, because it's removing all the stuff that's in the middle from this family over here and this farm over here. Yeah. Which there's so much in the middle. Yeah. And I'm curious, just listening to you talk, like, I'm curious, like, when you even use the term food insecure, like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, that is a loaded question. Yeah, I feel like, well.
Yeah, and then you don't have to give me the thesis unless you want to.
No,
but,
well, I'll kind of give you what I think a lot of people, how we used to think of food insecure as, we used to think of it as hungry people, right? And nowadays, what we really have to think about is, and now, are there still people who are hungry? Yes. Right. But I think a lot of times what we are talking about is nutrient insecure. Right. So a family might live in an area where they do not have access to a supermarket, to a full service a supermarket. And so they essentially lack food access, and that might be due to proximity, or it might be due to affordability as well.
Yeah, I think that there are many layers there. And I was also thinking just about, and I wondered if that's kind of where you're going to, about just the, when you think about it being thrust upon them as in the family values way, or like, how you grew up. So, I've got a friend who has, we've been friends for like 15 years. He's mostly been homeless for the majority of that. we've finally gotten him into an apartment recently. We actually have food in his cabinets, but he doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. There's an educational component as well. Definitely.
And it's just like, if you grew up in fast food nation and that was your childhood, the work is so much deeper than access, and I found that to be repeated over the years in our relationships with other people that we've tried to onboard onto more healthier food access is like I'm trying to think of another. There's another clear metaphor that's almost entered my brain, but of just like learning how to eat, I guess.
Nutritional wisdom almost.
Nutritional wisdom. But there's also the dirty habits that we've formed in our brains around the things that we crave. And what's easy, what's familiar. And you realize how much of that
gut flora, all of that.
The gut flora,
it's true.
And how much of that has reprogrammed American society. And so all of a sudden now to talk about food justice, it's like I feel like we're just now getting to the point where we're getting better at the actual food access part. But
we're starting to acknowledge that this might not be food that you're used to, right?
Totally.
And it's also changing the idea of what is food, right? Because I work for an organization now where we share meals with poverty disrupting organizations, and some of the children that we serve, they're used to their dinner possibly being bags of Takis, right?
Which I love Takis.
I've never
Horrible
had them.
dinner. You never had Takis? Dude, Takis is like...
I've never had them.
Oh my gosh.
My nephew eats them, and I'm just like, what are those?
What are they? I have no idea, but...
I don't know if they're spicy. I don't know if
spicy.
they're like, are they? Okay.
They're spicy.
I didn't know if they were like a Dorito
my kids who,
rolled up or
quote,
something.
don't like spicy food will like just devour Takis.
That is hilarious.
So you're like, you've all just been lying to me, you little rascals. Anyway. That's so funny.
So, I mean, and that comes from, so maybe a child lives in a LILA area, low income, low access area. And, this is the dinner that they are used to. That is what is readily available. That is what that is maybe what SNAP purchases from a convenience store. Also, if your listeners don't know, I totally stutter, so that's coming on at different times. But yeah, so there is this thing of like, how do we introduce this meal that has no convenience foods in it, right? How do we do that?
Absolutely.
And it's tricky. It's just like you just have to keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah, you realize the work, the next layer of work is, I'm gonna say like eating with people.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
and it's like, and back to my friend, I've realized like a cookbook is not gonna help him.
No.
What's gonna help him is when I show up to his apartment and we make a meal together.
Absolutely.
And should we be surprised to find that the true solutions to all of this are the same true solutions to every problem, which is community, which is relationships. It's amazing. Like every social issue we get down to, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess someone just needs a friend. Man, this one, well, put that one in that box as well. I guess that one's also, and it's just like, oh my word, all the things, Yeah. Would you want to say more about the work that you're doing now?
Yeah. And so, and I love that you brought up community, because that is. So I work for the Nashville Food Project, and we can really be summed up with the 3 words: grow, cook, and share. So we have with Grow, we have a robust community ag network. We are adding to that every year. But a really cool thing is we have a director of food recovery that goes out to different grocery stores, so Costco, Sprouts, you name it. And he gets all the food that's about to expire. So it might be an apple with like a little nick in it,
right?
Or it might be a bag of salad that in 2 days is just not going to be able to be on the shelf anymore because of how our food system is. And he brings that back to our kitchen team, and with that food and some purchased food as well. They make about 6,000 meals per week.
Wow.
6,000 made from scratch meals per week.
Which is also a testament to how much food waste
it's
occurs
a lot. Yeah.
in an area.
Yeah, it's a lot of food waste. So let's talk about that in a second actually too. So grow, cook, and then with that we share those meals with different poverty disrupting organizations throughout our community. So and one of the criterion for our meals program is, it has to be there has to be a gathering element involved, because we believe that poverty disruption happens across a table, right? Maybe you're eating with someone and you find out that your daughter goes to the same school as their daughter goes to, right? You are taking night classes, and you would really appreciate if they could pick up your child at the same time that they pick up theirs. That is poverty disruption, right? Like that person is able to go to their night classes because they have someone else picking up their daughter.
I love that.
Or maybe someone really needs their lawn mowed. They don't have a lawn mower. The guy sitting diagonally does from them. So that happens, right? Another criterion that we have is that there has to be some sort of programmatic element, right? So maybe it's a GED class, maybe it's an after-school program that helps children with their homework. We have served organizations that are doing like equine therapy, like horse therapy, helping children regulate their emotions. That's needed too, right? All that's great. We serve seniors that are just doing like a bingo, a night, and I don't say just lightly, it's a seniors, like our senior community, they suffer from isolation.
Totally.
Right. So if we can provide a meal that's going to help them get out of that isolation and come and join and enjoy bingo together, that's poverty disruption too. Like that's community
building.
The healing. That's really exciting. So we do some great work. I'm proud of the work that we do.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
You were going to say something about food waste.
Oh yeah, food waste. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about food waste, and we have like a food waste awareness week, right? And it's like every April. I think it's the first or second week of April every year. And it's not just that; it's like statewide, right, or nationwide.
Sure.
And we talk a lot about food waste and preventing food waste, but I wish there was just a little bit of a paradigm shift, just a slight way of like how we talk about it, and that is, instead of talking about food waste as though you eat it or it's wasted.
Right.
We talk about food circularity instead. And we talk about all the different uses of food. If we really honed in on food is used to nourish our bodies, and it's used in our compost, and it's used as animal feed, and it's if we talk about this circle of how it's used, and we just take waste off the table. Like it's not, don't even have it be an option, I just like to. I just like to plug that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so cool to hear your kind of trajectory with all of it and see it just unfold, and it's clear like how much you've grown in this work, and how knowledgeable you've become, and all the things, and this is kind of maybe an out there question, but I thought it would be fun to kind of like get into a little bit. But I'm just curious, like in Tera's opinion, what do you think food's gonna look like?
Oh boy.
In like 30 to 40 years, like thinking about agriculture, thinking about your work in food justice, and feel free to think like this is my grim response and this is my hopeful response, or this is whatever. I would be curious to know your opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm on the board of the Nashville Food Co-op, and I am hopeful that we will as a city and as a state and as a nation, we will continue to grow in our support for supporting small scale growers, like small scale organic regenerative growers who use practices that are life-giving, right? And they literally, like, I view regenerative as you are literally leaving the land better than how you found it, right? That's my hope. My hope is that's my hope for our farmers. We will continue to create consistent revenue pathways for our growers. We will, and with that, we will continue to provide food access. I think one thing is, the Nashville Food Project has this saying that we believe in abundance, right? There's already enough food to feed everyone, right? It's already here.
Right.
We are just trying to break down those barriers to access. And so one of the ways that we do it is, 40% of all food is wasted, right? Because we don't talk about the food circularity, right? It just goes in the trash. And so some of that is wasted at the farm site, right? But a lot of it is wasted just in our houses too, right? So how can we better prepare meals together, eat together? How can we better save meals for later and like use up those scraps and use, how can we, how do we not think of food as scraps as well, so like to even go beyond. So there's a lot of action and there's a lot of thought there as well. So I do try to be, I hope this answers your question. I do try to be hopeful.
Yeah.
Grim response is I'm having the same conversations today that I did 20 years ago. And that is hard. That like some of the issues that we were talking about when we were 22, whatever, they're not being solved. And we're still, sometimes it feels like we're one step forward, two steps back. But as a nation and how we treat our farmers and how we think about food justice. And so I think, I would say for, Jane Goodall just passed.
Yeah.
And I've been watching interviews with her, and she talks about hope a lot, constantly. And I'm so impressed with her ideas of hope. And so I've been thinking a lot about hope lately, and I've been thinking a lot about inertia and how do we prevent inertia, right? I think that inertia can happen without hope, right? I think we can just say, well, nothing's ever going to get better, so why try? So why not, let's just not do anything, right? And I also think that maybe too much hope, maybe like, I think they're doing a pretty good job over there. I'll just sit over here and do nothing. I think how to combat inertia is just keep doing, right? Like so maybe you like wake up and you find out that you got that grant, to keep doing the work. Awesome. You celebrate and you start writing another grant, you know?
Yeah.
And then maybe you wake up and you find out that you didn't get that grant, and you feel, you kind of pour yourself a cup of coffee and you feel bad about it for a little while, and then you just start writing another grant. And I think that's the only way to combat inertia and to keep kind of feeding hope, is to believe that the work that we're doing is important.
Totally.
And I believe so strongly in food justice and food justice work, because food justice, when we heal parts of that, we literally heal all the other injustices, right? Like, so food justice is racial justice, is environmental justice, is social justice. It's all of those together.
I love that.
So I think that's why I've always focused on food. It's right in front of me. It's simple in some ways.
Yeah.
But it touches everything.
Yeah. And everyone can take action on it.
Yeah.
At the very next thing that they eat.
It's the easiest for some of us. I won't put that on everyone, but for those of us who have those choices.
Yeah.
It is the easiest thing for us to change.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really good. I wonder, as we're coming to a close, and you can feel free to share or not share either way, but you mentioned earlier, the differentiation between, you said quote unquote devout Christian, and I'm just curious, as we're talking about, briefly about hope and some things, like, does faith still play any part in that for you or not? And the answer can just be no.
But I'm really trying to think about it. I mean, maybe it does and I don't know it, right? Maybe it doesn't, I don't see it. And I want to leave space for that, you know. I think that when I first started getting into food justice or food activism, or whatever you want to call it, that was how I worshiped. Like that was me worshiping. And I think so whether I'm connected, I think I'm connected to a God or not, I think still worshiping something, right? Hopefully I am.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. I hope that I'm loving my neighbor.
Yeah. I think you are loving your neighbor.
Good. That's great.
I think you're loving a lot of neighbors.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I think that is an act of worship. Well, thank you for sharing all that you shared. This is a really fun conversation and way overdue, and I'd be excited to do this again.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah.
This is great.
Friends, thank you for listening. We need so many more of these conversations in the church. And if you're interested in supporting this podcast, even with a few dollars, hit that Substack link in the show notes and consider donating there. It would be just a huge win. I would take a cup of coffee. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button, offer a review if you can. And until next time, friends, grace and peace.